From Appaloosa, that's the hedge fund owned by David Tepper, upping his stake in Amazon by about 12%, but paring back his stake in Facebook by about 7.5%. Still, those two were his top two positions by dollar value at the end of the quarter, worth about $350 million apiece. Also upping his stake in Google's parent company Alphabet by 48%, making that position worth about $230 million at the end of the quarter. Also interesting, Berkshire Hathaway upping its Amazon stake by 11.2% to about $1 billion, but worth noting there that Warren Buffett was not the one actually making that decision. It was another one of his associates. Guys, back over to you.
Leslie, thank you very much for that crazy day here, Morgan. Down 800 points on the Dow. That's the fourth worst points decline ever, down about 3% for all of the major indices as the yield curve inverted. There's going to be so much more on the massive sell-off tonight in a CNBC special report, Markets in Turmoil. Starts at 7 p.m. But as for today, on the closing bell, we're out of time. Thank you very much for watching.
Fast Money begins right now.
Stocks slammed as the bond market flashes a major recession warning. The Dow handing in one of its worst days of the year as fear grips Wall Street. So what should you be doing with your money following a day like today? Our team of traders is standing by to break it all down. A special edition of Fast Money starts right now.
And we are live from the NASDAQ market site overlooking New York City's Times Square. I'm Melissa Lear. Traders on the desk are Pete Najarian, Tim Seymour, Karen Feinerman, and Guy Adami. A brutal day on Wall Street. Stocks plunging as the yield curve inverted for the first time since 2007. The selling widespread. The Dow dropping more than 800 points. All 11 S&P 500 sectors finishing the day in red. The market meltdown leaving many investors on edge and sparking fears that a recession could be on its way. So what's your take on the day, Guy Adami?
Well, my take on the day is it makes a lot of sense. I mean, volatility is here. I think volatility will continue to grind higher. Pete can speak to this. When is it over? I mean, that's what everybody wants to know, so I can pontificate. But what should we be looking for? In my opinion, I think you're looking for a VIX that climbs near 30. We've seen it sort of peak out at those levels before when the market basically troughs. Or you're looking for the S&P 500 to put in a low about 2690 or so, which if you do the math is midway between the low we saw on December 24th and the recent high in the S&P 500 of 3025. Carter will be on. I'm sure he'll speak to levels, but those are things you're looking for. In terms of does it make sense? I think it makes a lot of sense. And I'll say this as well. The gold market has been telling you something like this been in store for the last few months, Mel.
The data around the world, negative yields around the world have also been telling you the same story, Tim. And we really got a dose of very bad data that started us off on the wrong foot.
Look, the data continues to get worse, and Guy starts talking about what he needs to see different. Unfortunately, I think we're in a case where the data really, while the leading indicators 12 to 15 months ago already started to give way, it's hard to say that the data is anywhere close to troughing, especially when we haven't really even begun to solve some of these trade disputes or trade sanctions or trade restrictions, which continue to be the dynamic. Again, you've got industrial production tonight in Japan. You can be watching that. Tomorrow morning, we have retail sales in the United States. We have an Empire State survey, a lot of regional Fed surveys. Remember, we've seen some multi-year lows. We've seen 10-year lows on a lot of the Asian PMIs, Hong Kong, obviously with the extreme case. But again, yesterday you saw German confidence indicators at 2011 area. And that to me is a market where we didn't have any confidence. So I need to see data change. And you're right, it's the data that really led us lower.
Yeah, and then you pile on top of that what Secretary Ross told Squawk Box this morning, effectively that the September trade talks that we all thought were happening with the Chinese coming to Washington, D.C., nothing has been formalized yet. So if we thought that was a catalyst, we don't even know if that is going to happen at this point.
You know, so yesterday's rally we had was on the Trump news with China, maybe progress.